Hello, welcome back. My name is Darren Thomas and I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. In this video, we're going to take a look at data validation in Microsoft Excel. So, without wasting any more of your time, let's see what we can learn. All right, so I'm inside Microsoft Excel, and what we're doing here is we're trying to limit what kind of information you can put inside your table. So here I have the beginning of a table here at the bottom. It's getting there, trust me. And up here I have some information that I want to limit inside my table. So for example, I have the beginning and end dates. This might be a timesheet as an example. And so I don't want people to put any day outside of basically March, or excuse me, February, as my example shows here. And so I want to limit this column dates so that it only can take values from February of what you can see right here. In addition, I have teachers over here, and I only want these three teachers to be possible as I create my table down here below. And then of course each teacher has their rate, how much they're paid, and then their course load. I guess you could say this is like number of credits or number of hours, however you want to see it, and then whether or not they got an overload. So the purpose of data validation is that you limit potential values that can be inputted into a particular column, if you will, inside Microsoft Excel. This helps to reduce, essentially eliminate errors where people type in things wrong because they're being careless and they're making mistakes. So for those of us who have to do a lot of data entry, if you are setting up criteria for data validation, it can essentially make your stuff perfect. For those of you who are doing research and you have to input surveys or whatever, and you have your assistants doing that, again, that can pretty much eliminate that problem. So let me start. I'm going to go ahead and make this a table. We've done this before. You're on home, and then of course after that, format as a table. Just keep it nice and simple, like so. All right. Let me go back. I forgot to do something. I know what it is. Format as table. Okay, select that, and then my table has headers. Okay, so there, we're done with that. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some data validation for the date column. So I'm going to click on home again. Excuse me, I'm going to click on data. All right, so now we're going to click on data validation. Click on data validation, and you can see we have to set, what kind of criteria we want to limit this by. So we're going to, in the drop-down box, click on date. And so we're going to click on the start date. We're going to set this as beginning here. Of course, you can leave off the year. It doesn't really matter. And then, of course, you want to make this an absolute reference. So press F4 there. That way it doesn't move around. And then we're going to click on the end. Press F4 as well. And we're done with this. Okay, now, if I try to put in any kind of a date, let's say I put in, 3/10/21, it'll give me this error message. So I can only put in dates between February 1st and the end of February. So if I put in 02/21/2019, it passes. Now notice how it gives me these numbers here. This is not quite the format we want, so we have to change this by highlighting this and put in date. So we'll just put short date, and now it's fixed. Now for teacher, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do data validation based on a list this time. So we go back, clicking on data, and then we're going to click on data validation, and we're going to allow a list. And so now we have to tell Excel, where is the list at? And our list is right here. And so now we're okay. The data's absolute references, and we're okay. Now I can only put in names from this drop-down box: Stacy, Glenn, or Keith. Any other name, I will get the same error message. So we'll just put Stacy for now. Now for rate, we have to do things a little bit different for rate, because how much someone gets paid is based on their name. I don't know, perhaps they teach different classes based on demand, or maybe it's based on their expertise. It's not really the point to worry about that. But to make this happen, we're going to use a function called Vlookup. And what Vlookup does is that it kind of looks in the column to the left, basically. That's kind of what it does. And we want to set the criteria for this. So inside the function, we're going to click here D8. So notice how it gives me this at teacher because we're using the table now, comma. And then after that, we want to, one thing I forgot to mention, let me back up, is we have to give this table a name. And we're going to, give this table a name. And I already called it rate, but I'm going to rename it so I don't confuse people. So in the name manager is now called rate. That's what this little group of columns is going to be called. Let me go back over here now, and we're going to do equal sign Vlookup. And then inside here, just going to use the teacher. This is called a structured reference right there. Then we're going to use it from the table rate. And then we're going to put a comma because we only want the second column. That's what we want. And then the last piece of information, we want this to be a false, okay? Because we don't want approximate matches. We want exact matches. That's what we want. And so with that, we press enter. And now we have the rate of $150, excuse me. Now, to make sure that this is dollars, we're just going to go back over here to the home tab, click on accounting number format, and put this in dollars. So next we have to deal with our course load. Teachers can teach anywhere from 6 to 18 credits or whatever you want to call it, hours, it doesn't matter. And we're going to limit this column to those values, 6 to 18. So again, we're going to go back to data, click on data. We're going to go over here to data validation. And we're going to say whole numbers because they don't teach half credits here. So minimum is 6, maximum is 18. And so now it could be any value between those. So if I put in 5, I'll get the error message. You can see that. So we'll put in, 15 for now. Now, overload. Overload in this particular situation could be yes or no. And basically anything over 12 credits or 12 hours will be considered an overload. And, it's higher education, so you really don't get time and a half. You get kind of like an honorarium, if you will. A little bit of a bonus pay, but not really an hourly bump, if you will. So for overload, we need to use an if function. So if we're going to say here, this is F8 course load. If course load is greater than 12, then you're going to put here a yes. Otherwise, we wanted to put a no. That's how we're going to do this. Close it out. And so now it automatically fills this column. When your worker is inputting data, they shouldn't even have to deal with this column. It's just a visual for accounting purposes, if you will. And now we have to calculate the pay. So pay should be normal. So 150 times, 12 or whatever. But if it goes beyond the 12 credits, they have to get the hourly rate plus an extra $250. So we have to do another if function. So if, and then we're looking at G8. If G8, if that equals yes, then this is what we do. Let me move over a little bit. This is what we do. We're going to do E8 times F8 plus $250. That's what we do. Now, if overload does not equal yes, then this is what we're going to do. We're going to do E8 times F8. No bonus. Press enter. And now you can see that we have 500 here. Now, of course, you already know if I press tab, I automatically get a new row. But you see I got some NAs here because I haven't provided all the information. So I just do another example here. Whoops. So let me do that again. So I do 221-2019. All right. So we'll just pick, for example, Glenn, 175. Now you can see how the NAs are starting to disappear. Course load, we'll just say he had 10, and everything is filled in automatically. And this is what data validation allows you. Notice how when I put the data in wrong for the second row here, Microsoft Excel automatically said, hey, retry. And so I fixed it, and then everything was smooth and going accordingly. And so this is what data validation does. It eliminates the risk of inputting data incorrectly inside a table. So let me kind of try to summarize what we talked about and conclude this video. So in this video, we took a look at data validation, which, like I've already mentioned several times, allows you to make sure that the data you put in is appropriate. That's what validation means. It means appropriate. And so by using this tool, you can limit things based on various criteria: date, a list, a number, whatever. And by using these different tools, you're able to make sure that all the information in your table is appropriate and correct for whatever it is you need to know or input. So my name is Darren Thomas. I am the Director of Educational Research Techniques. Thank you for watching and take care.